What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content you watch on the WWE Network, as well as on the USA Network, as today we're talking Season 2, Episode 2 of Straight Up Steve Austin, featuring Ice-T. Now, of all the guests they announced on this season of the Straight Up Steve Austin show, I was looking forward to this one the most. Ice-T seems like a pretty chill dude, and obviously Steve Austin is, so I was looking forward to this one, and it did not disappoint. This was a very enjoyable episode of Straight Up Steve Austin. So it actually kicks off, I like how every episode kicks off with a formal backstory and background of all the guests. Like, for example, last week, Luke Combs, I had no idea who that guy was. I knew he was a singer, a country music singer, I thought, and he was. But I didn't know a lot of the things that Steve had said about him before they first interacted on the show. Same thing with Ice-T. I knew, obviously, I know him from Law & Order. I knew he had done other stuff. But he has a pretty iconic and prolific career, so it was really cool to hear about that before they first met up at the beginning of the episode, which involved them riding around Los Angeles. That was where I think Ice-T, I don't know if that's where he grew up, but he said he really helped put LA on the map as far as hip-hop was concerned. And he mentioned how he was never involved in gangs because he knew it was dangerous. So he always wanted to play football, though. Yet he ended up in gymnastics. So he ended up being one of the strongest kids in his school at that point. And he also got to coach the girls' gymnastics team. If you were on the men's gymnastics team, I guess, at that point in high school or whatever, you got to coach the girls. So I thought that was pretty funny. He talks about how he got his girlfriend pregnant right out of high school really, really young. He had to kind of learn on the fly in regards to being a teenage dad. So he went to the military to get responsible, to really develop a strong sense of responsibility. And he wanted to prove to his drill sergeant that he can make it in a civilian life. So he also talks about recording his first record and the hood pass and coming back to LA and developing credibility among the people that he grew up with and people that live in South Los Angeles and stuff like that. And he always loves coming back to LA, he said. He also loves painting and working on cars. Painting cars, working on cars. Specifically, though, he enjoys lowriders. So we see Steve and Ice-T working on there's a lot of car talk, and they talk a lot about lowriders. And I really know nothing about cars. So I really couldn't detail the entire conversation here for you. But they talk a lot about cars, and Steve tries one out. Tries out one of the lowriders, which I thought was funny. So, in the very end of the episode, they order some donuts from, I guess, a famous donut place in the area, I believe. And he talks about how he briefly discusses his role on Law & Order and how he was only, I guess, supposed to be on for 4 episodes. And now he's been on not every episode, I don't think, but he's been on a majority of the episodes since then. And now it's coming on its 22nd season. That's crazy. And, he says, is it still fun for you after all these years? And he said, yes, but because of the work environment, because I love who I get to work with. And he talks about the advice that he got from the get-go and all this other stuff. He also talks about Iceberg Slim's influence on him and how he quoted Iceberg Slim to girls that he knew in school, I guess to pick up chicks or whatever. And he also said that rap music really allowed him to tell stories of growing up on the hood and how his childhood was like and being raised and whatever. And the Ice-T, which I never knew, the Ice-T name came from the fact that his real name is Tracy, he said, and that he used to be called Trey, and then later he was called Ice-T, I guess after Iceberg Slim. Or someone had said something like, oh, you're so Ice-T, or something like that, and he put it together. And then he became known as Ice-T. So he said that he did I guess it was a concert one time or something. I started falling asleep during the episode, not because it was boring, but just because I was really fucking tired. I don't know what was going on here, but they talk about how he did a show one time, like a concert or whatever. He did a 40-minute show with his butt cheeks clenched the entire time. He really had to fucking fart. I guess because he ate beforehand or he had a shit or whatever. And he said one fart would have been disastrous. So he never farted during that entire show. And that's why he doesn't eat before his shows anymore. So at the very end of the episode, I don't know what that was about, but they go onto a gun range and Ice-T is completely blown away after the first shot of shooting with a 500. Again, I know nothing about guns, so I really can't add any analysis to this. But it was just cool to see Steve and Ice-T literally shooting the shit here. I thought this, not shit, but they were shooting actually. And Steve said, hey, one bullet, that's all it takes. With this type of gun, that's all it takes. And that was about it. Steve and Ice-T said they grew up admiring each other, and Steve says that real OGs drink chocolate milk, and that was it. So I enjoyed this episode. Ice-T came across great, learned a lot of new things about him that I personally did not know before, and Steve always brings the best out of every single guest he has here on the show. So I'm enjoying Season 2 of the Straight Up Steve Austin Show so far. Be sure to check it out every single Monday after Raw on the USA Network at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You can check out my exclusive conversation with Steve Austin himself, Stone Cold, the WWE Hall of Famer right now, not only on WrestleRant Radio, but also an article for him on Bleacher Report and right here on the YouTube channel from a couple of weeks ago. So check out that interview and subscribe for more daily content and exclusive interviews, including another one to come in the coming days that is maybe not on Steve Austin level, but it's still pretty big, and you're not going to want to miss it. And that's in addition to AJ Styles from last week. So we got a lot of awesome interviews coming up and already in the can right here on the channel. No better time to subscribe than right now. So hit that bell button to be notified every time a new video goes up. Have a great week, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.